Hot Mama's Cool Planet brings you two bold, hot, lifelong friends with a bicontinental podcast on sustainable living, self-care, and the gloriously messy middle of life. I'm Mishi, and I live in sunny California, and I am the mother of an 11-year-old named Manga, who I call Manga Monster, and I am a game developer, and I'm building a nutrition app, and I've worn many different hats and lived many different places, and I am trying to live a well-rounded, healthy life. And this is Mer.
Hi, I'm Mer, and I live in London after spending most of my life in America, mostly California and New York, a little bit of Texas. Plus, I've also lived around the world, Singapore, mostly just Singapore. But now I've been here in London for 10 years, and I live here with my partner, who I call the hairy guy, and my 13-year-old daughter, who I call Godzilla. And I am a researcher and a storyteller, and I have a passion for hair history, and I like to eat food, and I like to stay healthy, which is increasingly hard given, inertia dragging my body down. And I like to treat the world well, too. So this is our podcast. Welcome.
All right. And we like to start with small pleasures. So our topic today is heating pumps and how to have a more energy efficient home with your heating. So we will get into that, but let's start with our small pleasures. So I had a small pleasure last week that was every once a month or so, I have this ladies' night of friends who are also moms like myself, and we get together and talk about, parenthood and other stuff, and politics or whatever AI sometimes, whatever topics that, people talk about. Mm-hmm. Anyway, this time we got together and we made pickles.
Oh, nice.
And we made onion pickles, red onion pickles, and one of my friends who is really craftsy, and she has a background, she grew up like in a large Mormon family, so this was her idea she brought all these like pickling devices, and we chopped a bunch of onions up and put a bunch of vinegar in there and sugar and salt and water, and that's basically all you need to do with pickles. And
quick pickles, yes.
Yeah, I've been eating those red onion pickles with all kinds of stuff all week long, and they're delicious. So that has been a small pleasure that led to many other pleasures.
Oh, so. That is fantastic. And so how nice that you have that community, that you get together and just hang out, and you have a bunch of like-minded people to see, and that's wonderful. I think that's great.
It is so sweet and nice, and they've got my back. We've got each other's back through some hard times, so that's
They're
great.
Your pickle friends.
Yes.
My tiny pleasure for this week is that I've discovered a new YouTube person. I mean, she's been around for a long time, but she's new to me, called Monica Fit. And she's just one of those fitness people on YouTube. But what I like about her is that she has all of these 10-minute workouts that are like good for standing, good for waking up in the morning, no equipment needed. And like for me, I'm just brain dead and stupid in the morning, and get somebody to tell me what to do for 10 minutes to move my body. And she's kind of cheerful, and somehow 10 minutes doesn't seem that long. And by the end, I'm definitely warmed up and like just barely starting to sweat, but I'm not like gross and messy yet. So what I've discovered this week is that I can do those 10-minute things anytime. And so if I find myself just sort of like doom scrolling and staring at, stuff that's not helping my life in any way, I'm like, aha, now's the time for one of those little 10-minute exercise videos. And I put it on, and indeed, I'm feeling perkier, and especially with it being like winter and all gray outside, I don't really want to go for a walk in this weather. So that's been my tiny pleasure, is doing these little 10-minute videos throughout the day and getting my heart rate up. Yay.
That sounds great. Yeah, it's better than a cup of tea or coffee to wake yourself up to do like just move your body around a little bit. So
Why not both?
well, that's true. That could be the reward that comes after.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, this week I wanted to tell you about heat pumps. I think both of us have one, don't we? I mean, I know I
Yes.
do.
Yes, the duplex that I share with my dad, I live next door to my elderly dad, and we had one installed that works for both of our areas of the house. And yes, it has saved us a ton of energy, and it's very cozy and comfortable here in the winter. So, but the guy did a little diagram when he came by about a year ago and explained how it works, but in between then I've kind of forgotten. So I think you're going to explain again.
I will.
you
Yeah.
know.
I also got a heat pump installed, I don't know, about a year and a half ago or so, and it was really mostly the Harry guy's doing. Well, it was the fact that our old boiler was a relic from the last century, I think. When we moved into this place 6 years ago, it was already really old, and then we waited like 5 winters, and it was barely starting. And winters here in London can be really cold. It would have been a big bummer if we were left without heat. So here in the UK, there are a bunch of grants you can apply for, and there's also a long waiting list to get boilers. So anyway, our turn came up and we were able to get one installed just as our boiler was about to completely die. And so yeah, it was a little bit of an adjustment for us. For example, they had to install all new radiators because a heat pump, kind of unlike a boiler where it like just blasts out hot until it reaches the temperature that you've set your thermostat to, and then it stops and waits for it to cool down, and then it blasts out hot again, right? A heat pump, on the other hand, kind of keeps it slow and steady throughout the day. So it barely goes off, or if it like lessens in how much it's throwing out, but it also just mostly keeps it steady all the time. So you can have it where it's like cooler at night when you're sleeping, but it's going to be a slow decline. It's not going to be like a sudden jumping off a cliff into nighttime temperature.
Okay.
So,
we don't have many radiators out here in California, so we don't have radiators, but we still have a heat pump somehow.
do you have
But
underfloor heating?
No.
Well, so heat pumps can be both a heater and an air conditioner, and I bet in Davis you need to use an air conditioner in the summer.
Yes, yeah. It's
So
hooked
it's
so we got a new air conditioner at the same time. Yeah.
So because they're basically the same thing, except that you literally just flip a switch and it changes the direction of things. So the diagram that the installer probably drew for you is one like I had to draw for myself, because when I was doing my research on this, I did not understand it at all. And so I drew myself a diagram, and essentially what you have, in my case, where we only have the heater, we don't really have air conditioning, and very few people have air conditioning where I live, but we use it for the heater, which is really important in the wintertime. So what happens is it's not producing heat, it's gathering heat and like collecting it for you and then giving it to you. So that's why it's more efficient. So it's collecting the outside air heat. Even if it's really cold outside, there's still heat out there. And it's gathering it all because of the second law of thermodynamics. Do you know what this is? I didn't know what this was. The second law of thermodynamics says that heat will go to cold. So if you have any heat, it's looking for a cold place to go, and it's going to go there, right? So our heat pump sits outside of the house, and it's really cold. If you walk by that heat pump on the outside, it's really, really cold. And that's because it's filled with this refrigerant, and that's designed to be really, really cold. And by being so cold, it's sucking all the heat out of the air. Because even though it's cold outside, there's still some heat out there, and it's going to your super cold refrigerant, right?
Okay.
So it's gathering up all of this heat, and then it's compressing that heat, which makes it even hotter. And it's compressing it, and then it goes and like shoves it inside your house and heats up your radiators and heats up your water, and so all that can happen. And
Okay.
and then so it heats the house, and then it goes back out to the heat pump, where there's an expansion valve, and that lets all of that compressed refrigerant loosen up, and as it loosens up, it cools down, and then it starts sucking the heat back in again. So this little diagram here is showing how you have the air from the outside, and then it goes into the refrigerant, and it gets all compressed, and then it goes into your house and heats everything up, and then it gets expanded and cools down again, and then it sucks the heat out of the air again.
Oh, so it's like an endless cycle that's,
Exactly.
continuously doing what it needs to do.
Right, and since it's gathering heat and not creating heat, that makes it really more efficient. So like our old gas boiler, was probably a dinosaur, but even an up-to-date gas boiler is probably not going to do better than, if it had 100% efficiency, that would mean like for every unit of energy you get 1 unit out. Most of them are like maybe 80-90% efficiency, something like that. Well, a heat pump can be 3 to 4 times, so 300 or 400% efficiency, because you're only using a little bit of electricity, and it gathers up all of this other stuff to create more heat than the energy it required to gather it all up.
That is awesome.
I know.
Yeah.
That's
I was
really
also going to
great.
say I really like radiators. When I have lived in Europe, I have enjoyed, like in Germany,
Yeah.
they're just like, having radiators in every room. It really keeps things nice and warm in a steady kind of way, so you're not having like this dry heat blasted onto you from the air.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, I don't like the blowing kind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Radiators are so cozy, and like one of my cats is just stretched out on one of these double wide radiators that they installed for us.
Yes.
Because like I say, we needed much larger radiators, and now they run at a lower temperature, so they are perfect for cat lounging.
Oh. Good for drying sweaters, good for vinyl and floof to lounge on.
Yes, definitely. But because we have a tiny itty bitty little London house, which is, microscopic by American standards, having these radiators that are bigger actually was like a serious consideration. That is going to take up so much space in our already tiny house.
Oh, I see.
A couple of the other downsides, I guess, for us is that it's really big. I mean, it's outside, but even our tiny little itty bitty, postage stamp size garden, like, oh, where are we going to put this? And there's rules. It has to be so far from your house and so far from your neighbors. And so it was a bit of a pain in the neck to figure out where to put it. And we have fantasies someday of like, what if we expand our kitchen and have to knock down walls and blah, blah. And if we ever do that, we would have to move this heat pump. And like, oh, I know that would just be a nightmare.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Plus it's kind of noisy, which usually doesn't bother me because I'm half deaf, but the Hairy Guy and Godzilla are always talking about how noisy it is.
Huh.
Supposedly these heat pumps shouldn't be any noisier than like a refrigerator, but ours is really noisy. One thing that really bugs me is if I want to have one of those like really luxurious showers that lasts forever, or if we all end up doing showers one after the other, whoever's third in line, it doesn't last long enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I wish the hot water, there was a bigger reserve. They improved our old system where, oh my gosh, I don't even want to go into it, but let's just say there was a huge cistern of water in the attic, the loft space of this place. And one time before we got the new heat pump, things went bad, and that entire cistern was like flooding water into our bedroom right below it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a big problem, and luckily we were home, and the Hairy Guy like climbed up into the loft space and fixed it instantly. But like, if we hadn't been there, or if it was just me and I was like, what's going on, So
Yeah.
I'm happy to not have that anymore, but I'm sad that it's no longer a big, huge amount of water that will last for 3 showers in a row, or a big luxurious one.
I guess you still have your blow-up hot tub in the backyard
I do.
if you need some hot water time.
Yes, indeed, and and I use it often. What else can I tell you about? Oh, I remember. Yes, so getting ours installed, I kind of mentioned that there was some grants that we applied to. So here in the UK, there is a grant, and it's actually really awesome because I don't remember exactly how much it was. I want to say 7,500 or 8,000 pounds, but it was roughly almost as much as what the whole heat pump installation cost, minus the amount that was similar or so to what a new gas boiler would have cost. So in other words, with the government's help, we ended up spending about the same amount as we would have for a new boiler, but instead we got this heat pump. And even better, just to make Americans jealous of Britain and the one time the government actually did something well, the company who installed it for us, actually they were the ones who applied for the grant and they got paid from it. So the only thing we had to do was just pay like the additional amount that was the same amount as the boiler, right?
Actually, the same thing happened.
Awesome.
There was a grant, and so that made it a lot cheaper. And
so I bet that
and
was
they
because
applied
you're in-
for it. So it might have been because I'm in California. It might
That's
have
what I
been.
was going to say.
Yeah.
So in
Not
America,
sure if it's available all through the
look-
U.S.
I looked it up, and there was some incentive which is supposedly ending and probably won't be renewed with the current administration. And it wasn't as much as what I was talking about. It was like 1,000 or 2,000, and I forget exactly what that incentive was for. So now it's down to state by state. I think that the costs can vary wildly. Like here in London, I'm pretty sure the whole thing was under 10,000, certainly under 10,000 pounds. Like maybe let's just say 8,000 pounds, which is probably like $11,000 or $12,000, something like that. And depending on the size of your home and how much insulation you have and what the weather, the climate is like where you live, and whether you're doing just heating or heating and air conditioning, and I don't even know what other factors. I'm sure that it can vary a lot in how much it costs to do. But then your monthly heating bills should kind of be roughly even, and that's what I've been seeing compared to gas. Because gas is cheaper, but with this you're using less of it. So even though it's electricity, you're using less, and so it should roughly even out. Compared to an electric heater, like just a space heater, it's way cheaper.
Right. Yeah, I think that sounds like a really good price compared to what we paid here in California. And also, my dad owns a house in Germany and recently had to put in I believe it was a special heating pump that somehow also used a water radiators or something like that. But it was like, in Germany, they are moving away from gas because of the reliance on Russia and, geopolitical issues where people want to be not just more energy efficient, but also not rely on gas from Russia. So, but this heater, I think it was around 14,000 euro.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all, I guess, in sort of, let's say, the same ballpark. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, but we definitely paid more than that in California, even with the discounts that we got.
Interesting. Yeah, so I guess everywhere has their own reasons for pricing structure, but I guess that we got a real bargain here in the UK. So ours is an air heater because it takes the air from the outside, but I think what you were describing, maybe what you have in this German house, is geothermal, where it can extract the heat from underground, essentially. I have no idea how it works. I've basically seen the word and read the headlines and didn't delve too much deeper than that. So maybe that's the topic for another episode.
Yes. I could write to the tenants and ask them, because they went and selected it, so I don't know the details of it. But, yeah.
Yeah, so So that's pretty much the reason for getting heat pumps is it's way more efficient. It should last longer, hopefully, than than the gas boiler did, and it's better for the world. It's way more efficient.
That is so cool when, people invent something that is more energy efficient and is so useful, and everyone is actually, with government support, starting to switch over and start to use it. So.
I think that this isn't such a new invention. I mean, like refrigerators have used this concept, and air conditioners have used this concept for as long as I've known about them, right? It's just this thermodynamic law that heat is attracted to cold, and so they use that to create cold spaces, and now they basically just flipped it around and made it big enough to power your house. I think it is because of these geopolitical kind of situations that people are paying more attention to solutions that, whether they're new or old, are making sense now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it reminds me a little of, in our last episode, we were talking about the wind catchers.
Chimneys? Yeah.
Yes, and how the hot air comes in and it's drawn to where there's the cool air,
Mm-hmm.
and the way that's constructed to sort of make this endless kind of cycle. And yeah, very ancient technology, but
Yeah.
from the Middle East. But yeah,
One thing
so
that
interesting to think about. Have you heard about, with solar? We should do a whole other episode on solar.
Definitely.
Have you heard about in Germany how they have those solar heaters that you can plug into your apartment on your balcony? So
No, it's like portable, and then can you power your house with it, or just...
yeah, it helps lower your energy bill. So it's
That's
like
so cool.
a sort of plug-in solar panel for every person to be able to use, like the common person.
That's awesome. Like carrying around your own power source wherever you go. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely. Why not? That's cool. I want to look more into that.
They haven't been legalized yet in the U.S. I guess there's some, concerns about safety and plugging them in and power issues, but they should really get on that and figure it out. I mean,
Yeah.
if they can legalize, all the weapons that they have
Yeah,
here.
I get being careful with batteries. They have a tendency to explode when they're not handled well. But yeah, like you say, figure it out. We have plenty of things with batteries.
Yeah.
It can be managed, Yeah, that's all I got to tell you about heat pumps.
So you said that it's more like an even heat that
Mm-hmm.
is it comfortable, nice and cozy and
It's okay. All right, so here we get to the hairy guy who, like many men, really love to play with numbers and look for, deals and all those kinds of things. So he's the one who handles the heating bill, and he saw that there's like a surcharge or whatever. There's cheaper rates throughout the day and more expensive rates throughout the day. And so he decided that if he turns off the heating between, I want to say like 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., let's just say, something around that, then that's like when they charge the most. And so he'll have it on steady the rest of the time, but with a lower temperature at night, and he has the whole thing programmed in. The problem is I work from home, and Godzilla comes home from school at around 4 p.m. And so both of us are sitting here with like blankets wrapped around us and our teeth chattering by the time it's 6 p.m. and ready to turn the heat back on. So I think perhaps we need to adjust it a little bit.
yeah, that sounds a little chilly for y'all.
And also with my research, I haven't really proven or disproven whether turning it off for those few hours is actually the sensible thing to do, or keeping it steady the whole time, which is what's advised. So it's interesting because they always say start off keeping it steady and then you can always adjust it after you get to know the system. But obviously that wasn't the way the hairy guy was going to do it. He was going to game the system from the very beginning.
Right.
So yeah, I think maybe I would probably prefer a world in which it was truly kept steady, except for at night, sleep in a cooler room. because I like to be cozy all the time, and I don't want to wear like sweaters and jumpers and hoodies all the time. And although
Yeah,
I
you're
do
kind of like a
cuddling up to the
cat.
couch. I am very much like a cat. I would curl up on the radiator if it was big enough for me.
They should make like radiator furniture that fits over your, like, well, that doesn't catch on fire, with safety
Yes.
considerations. But,
Yes.
actually, I just remembered I learned about this thing not that
Like
long
cat
ago.
beds for humans.
Yeah, apparently, I mean, this is an older technology from Eastern Europe, but when my dad was a kid in the kitchen, they had like furniture that was part of the kitchen that would be like these tiles that were warmed up from the kitchen, and you would also sit there.
Oh, nice.
So, and a lot of like, he grew up in Königsberg, which is now part of Russia, I think, but it was a German city back then. And apparently in Eastern Europe, they have this technology in a lot of the buildings around like the kitchen where it's like furniture somehow, but also part of the kitchen and warm. So, anyway.
I have been known to bake things just because I wanted to warm up the house or where I was, you know. But in a few weeks we are revamping our kitchen and we are completely shutting down our whole gas line. So we'll be an all-electric house in a few weeks. I guess I'll report back to you at that point with my,
Okay.
I don't know, my sanctimonious superior, haha, no more gas here, yay, environment kind of way.
Well, that's good. That's a good direction to go in. What are you getting done to your kitchen?
Well, we had this dream at one point of really knocking down all the walls and making it bigger and more usable, and then we realized that wasn't going to happen. So instead, we are just taking out the old cabinets and putting in new ones and getting new appliances. So new stove and oven, and I am so excited. After 10 years of living here in the UK, I will finally once again have a dishwasher. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
I've been living all this time without a dishwasher. So we're getting all that, but our new stove and oven are going to be electric, which I prefer a gas stove, the hob. Like I like the flame under my pots and pans. So that'll be an adjustment, but I know it's better for the environment and better for my health. Apparently a lot of the toxic fumes, the gases that are in our homes is due to our cooking appliances. So I'm doing the right thing. It'll just be an adjustment and learning how to cook with it.
Yeah. I have gas stove and I enjoy it, but yes, eventually I guess I should switch.
Mm-hmm. I'm also sad to be losing our gas fireplace, but once again, it's not like a necessary thing. It's just something that's cozy and sweet, and I don't know. Haven't figured out exactly how I'll make up for that.
You can put on a Yule log channel on the TV.
Exactly. I can put a Yule log channel on TV. They sell like just little portable space heaters that look like fireplaces, and they're actually really cozy. So we'll see.
Yeah, I never watch TV, but my one of my sisters was here over the holidays, who's much more on top of the television world, and she's like, "You have 5 different Yule log channels." Yeah.
Did you watch them all?
No, but I did watch some South Park, which I hadn't watched in many, many years.
It got pretty intense this past season.
Yeah, there's been a lot of political material for it to work with, so yeah.
Yeah, we had some Yule log moments over the holidays, video Yule logs, and I remember we looked at the Stranger Things Yule log where it wasn't the cozy atmosphere I was going for. It was, like scary atmosphere, and I want my fire to be cozy, so I just went with the standard.
Oh, I didn't know they did like themed Yule logs like that. That's interesting.
Anything is possible.
Okay, well, thank you for explaining how the mysterious heat pump works again, which is good to know about, and hopefully inspires some of our listeners to upgrade their homes and get energy efficient, comfortable heat pumps. And yeah, so shall we move on to our intentions this week?
Yes. Do you have one in mind, or should I go first?
Maybe you should go first.
Okay, well, mine's easy, and my intention for this week is to do those 10-minute exercise things, like, as often as possible. At least once a day, but, I'm aiming for like 2 or 3 times a day.
That sounds good.
What's yours?
My intention is I am working on some positive self-talk in therapy these days. And so my intention is to just be aware of when I'm being negative to myself and try and flip the script on that. So
you can have that little floating heart to cuddle up to whenever you
also,
hear yourself.
Yeah.
The negative talk, you can have your little heart flutter in. I don't know. You told me about that heart a while back with your intentions, and I really love it.
Yeah, I tend to think well with visuals also, so yeah, maybe I should remember my heart. Yeah.
Well, good luck with your intentions for the week, and I'll see you next time on Hot Mama's Cool Planet.
Bye.
Bye.